Welcome back, everyone. Obviously, we are back. Just like I said, we have progressed a week. We are on the final week. We are on roster cut day. We have to bring our team down to 53 players, which, as you guys see, means we must cut 14 players. This is going to be a rough one. I have done my due diligence. I've made my decisions. Obviously, before I make any of the cuts, I have to say once more, if anybody is let go today, obviously I wish them the best of their future endeavors. I hope they are able to return to this team at some point, and or I hope they find success on another team because they are all so talented. They all deserve a spot in this league. Before we get started though, obviously I want to take some looks and see if I can find some deals to help us out. I would feel better if we could find some value for some players rather than having to cut them outright and not get anything for them. However, before I try to find any trades for myself, we've had Brandon Cooks on the trade block. We know he's probably our most talented player on the team, and we know this isn't going to be a great team. So we are looking to unload him for some pieces, and we have a trade offer for him here. So let's take a look and see what the offer is. It is from the Titans, an in-division rival, and this is what I call an awful trade. They're trying to fleece us a poor corner, a poor linebacker, and a 6th-round pick. For Brandon Cooks, you're going to need to bring more to the plate than that. It looks like they were trying to do the same as I was, just trying to unload the roster so they didn't have to make the cuts. They were trying to pick up a star in Brandon Cooks. We're not going to allow that one. So we are going to back out of this, and we are going to be declining that offer. All right, so our first decision today, Javier Thomas. I don't think he did enough to prove himself for this team. He does have a contract that isn't awful, but I believe it's a bit much. $2.5 million a year for a player that simply isn't probably going to get a lot of playing time on this team. So I'm going to see if we can find a deal for him. I feel like he could be promising for some teams. So give me some time to look it out, and I'll get back to you guys if I find something. And we have found a deal. I took a look around, and the Giants looked like they had some corners, but they had a lot of young guys. Not a lot of guys that are going to be around for the long haul. Javier Thomas is about 26 years old, I believe, and he could be a key placeholder for them. He could help develop some of the young guys, and they gave us a 3rd-rounder next year. So there was a 3rd-round pick we were missing for that next year's pick based on deals we've done in the past, and that was a key ship-off for us. Our first cut, it might have been obvious for a lot of you guys at home. Rex Burkhead is going to be given his papers, and he's going to be let go today. He just simply did not step up like the other running backs did, and he was not good enough for this team. Our next cut is going to be at the wide receiver position. We're going to be letting Chris Moore go. Unfortunately, he just didn't make much plays for us either. At the tight end position, it's going to be Anthony Auclair. He's a 5-year vet, 29 years old. Unfortunately, we already have 3 tight ends on the roster. We just don't need a 4th. Our next player we're going to be letting go, it's going to be Damone Harris from the right end position. He was okay. He just didn't stand out in any way, so we're going to have to let him go. He has no effect on our cap. Our next move, we're not going to be cutting him, but he is our 3rd-string center. It's his 2nd year in the league. We're going to move him to the practice squad so we can help develop him over time. Our next cut is going to be from the left guard position, Justin McCray. He just didn't do much to prove himself to this team. He's 30 years old. He should be able to find success on another team. We freed $2 million in cap with that move as well. And another move at the wide receiver position. Unfortunately, we're going to have to be saying goodbye to Chris Conley. We have Nico Collins, and he kind of does the same thing that Chris Conley is going to do for us. And he's younger, so unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to him as well. He frees us $1.5 million in cap. And our next move, we're going to be saying goodbye to the 4th-year MJ Stewart Jr. Unfortunately, we just have too many corners on this team. And with CJ Gardner-Johnson probably playing a few snaps at corner, we're way too crowded, and unfortunately, he just drew the short end of the stick. He frees $1.69 million in cap. Grayland Arnold is 24 years old. Obviously, we have Eric Murray. CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be backing him up when he's not flying around the field at all the other positions. I like him. I just don't think we have enough room for this many safeties on the team. So we're going to move him to the practice squad. Hopefully, we can develop him from there. And unfortunately, I'm very sad about it, but Isaac Yiadom just did not get the chance to prove himself this preseason with his injury. And like I said, we have too much space taken up from these corners. We need to cut some of the room. He has no effect on our cap, so if we get rid of him, it's no worry to us. Unfortunately, he's going to have to go. Our next move, we're going to be sending our third string defensive tackle, Roy Lopez, to the practice squad. Again, 25 years old, out of Arizona. He only has 1 year of experience. We're going to send him down there, hopefully develop him. We might have to call him up later. Our next move, we are going to be trading away Neville Hewitt, the 29-year-old, 7 years of experience out of Marshall. We're going to have to let him go. Unfortunately, we just have enough linebackers on the team. He just doesn't fit what we were looking for, and he's just going to have to go, unfortunately. That does free up 1.1 million caps. That's always nice. And with our last move for cuts, I've taken a lot of time to think about it. I've spoken to him individually, and instead of cutting him, we're going to be taking Obo Okoronkwo with his dislocated elbow and placing him on injured reserve. This does mean he will be unable to come back during the regular season. I believe if there's any difference to that rule, I will be highly ecstatic, but he is going to be on injured reserve for the entire year. Let me walk you through my thought process behind this one. So if Obo is on injured reserve, obviously he does not count as a roster spot towards our team. So we have hit the 53-man team. The other left ends on the team are 34-year-old Jerry Hughes Jr. and 34-year-old Mario Addison. Obviously, they are both getting up in age, and I would not be surprised if one or even both of them decide to call it quits after this year. And Obo, we obviously needed to take up a roster spot. We know these two are the better players at the time. But if we send him on injured reserve, we know no other team could take him from us because we like what we saw out of him. We could sign him back for next year, and he could be potentially the starter, if not the backup next year for our team. So with the injured reserve, it was unlucky that he had to get an injury, but it might have been the best thing for us to know that we can keep him on our injured reserve and no one can steal him from us for this year. And then obviously now that we've made our cuts, we know we're down to 53, but we do still have options on our practice squad roster. So we're going to be making a few signings here to put on our practice squad. Our first one is going to be wide receiver Lynn Bowden Jr. He's only 24 years old, and he could be something for us in the future if he doesn't get stolen from us. We are also going to be adding Tay Crowder to our practice squad, as he could be a key linebacker player if anybody goes down. From our corner position, we can always still develop even if we have talented players there. We're going to go with Josiah Scott. He's only 23 years old, so he still has a lot of room to grow. Obviously, I know we don't need any running backs right now, but a 22-year-old Javion Hawkins, he could have some potential to grow, so we'll add him there as well. And I believe for our final signing of the day, we're going to sign a kicker. It might not be the most conventional decision, but who knows? If our kicker goes down, he could be essential to step in. And he is only 23 years old. He's a rookie, so if we sign him to the practice squad, he could be a key growth for us, and he might be essential down the line. And now that we've made our cuts, we can run you through the depth chart going into week 1 of our NFL regular season. So obviously the quarterback position, our starter is going to be Davis Mills, backed up by Cam Newton. Our halfback is going to be Dameon Pierce starting. Marlon Mack's going to be backing him up. Royce Freeman's going to be number 3. And of course, Dare is going to be number 4. At fullback, obviously, Anna Janovich. If he ever goes down, Brevin Jordan's going to be backing him up. At wide receiver, our number 1 option, obviously, is going to be Brandon Cooks. His number 2 is going to be John Mechie, although he's going to be doing a lot of slot wide receiver work. So our number 3 is going to be Nico Collins, backed up by Deshaun Jackson, Philip Dorsett. At tight end, Brevin Jordan, backed up by his vet, Kyle Rudolph. The O-line, we all know Larry Tunsil's going to be starting there. Kenyon Green is going to be starting at the left guard. Justin Britt at center. At right guard, A.J. Cann. And at right tackle, Titus Howard. At the left end, obviously, we already talked about it. Jerry Hughes Jr. is going to be starting backed up by Mario Addison. At the right end, Jonathan Grenard backed up by Rasheem Green. Defensive tackle, Malik Collins, Ross Blacklock, Thomas Booker. At the left outside linebacker, Kamu Grugier-Hill is going to be coming over to start over there. And Christian Kirksey's going to be holding down the middle with Christian Harris and Tay Davis. They're also going to have Blake Cashman covering the right-hand side. He's being backed up by Garrett Wallow. At the corner position, our number 1 corner, obviously, is going to be Chris Harris. But this depth chart does need adjusting because our number 2 is obviously going to be Derek Stingley Jr. when CJ Gardner-Johnson is not having his sub linebacker duties, I'm going to have him in as the third corner as well. And when he is not in, Steven Nelson will step in. Steven Nelson's also going to be our backup slot corner, and when Desmond King is not there. So a lot of this backfield's going to be moving around a lot with switches. Jalen Petre is going to be holding the free safety position. He's going to be backed up by Terrence Brooks and Jonathan Owens as well. Strong safety, obviously Eric Murray is going to be starting like we said. TJ will back him up as well. And at kicker, of course, Kai Fairburn. Punter, Cameron Johnston. Kick returning, obviously, like we stated, Davion Davis after that kickoff return touchdown, and punt returning, Tremont Smith after his return touchdown. Nothing crucial to see over here besides, like we said, our slot wide receiver is going to be John Mechie. He just made so many plays. We want him in the slot, be able to shift around, make some good big plays for us in the regular season. And obviously, like we said, our sub linebacker is going to be CJ Gardner-Johnson. And our slot corner, also like we said, Desmond King. Our practice squad is filled out by running back Javion Hawkins, wide receiver Lynn Bowden Jr., center Jimmy Morrissey, defensive tackle Roy Lopez, middle linebacker Tay Crowder, cornerback Josiah Scott, strong safety Graylin Arnold, and kicker Jonathan Garibay. So now that we are done all of this, the roster deadline has passed, the regular season week officially has begun, and it is time for us to take a look ahead at our week 1 matchup. So first things first, we have to go take a look at who is actually going to be on the field for us to worry about. We know our injury report. Obviously, Obo is out and he's going to be out for the entire year. So we are going to shift over to our week 1 opponent, the Indianapolis Colts, and see what they have going on. Jonathan Taylor, their X-Factor running back, is out with a dislocated shoulder week 1. This could be a huge chance for us to get a big W in week 1. So we don't have to worry about him, but let's take a look at what we do have to worry about. At quarterback, they have a longtime vet, Matt Ryan, and he's backed up by Nick Foles. Both of them can come out and have their games when they need to. At halfback, without Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be Nyheim Hines, tight end Jelani Woods. At wide receiver, we have to worry about Michael Pittman Jr. He's a young star, and Paris Campbell and Kiki Kute. So nothing special there. At tight end, Mo Alley Cox. At left tackle, let's see, at their O-line, obviously Quentin Nelson is a star left guard for them. Ryan Kelly's solid at center, Darrell Williams, and Braden Smith. So ups and downs in their O-line. Maybe we can take advantage of that. Yannick Ngakoue and Kwity Paye are doing the defensive end positions. Not too bad. DeForest Buckner is a star in the defensive tackle position, backed up by Grover Stewart, who isn't too bad in his own right. At the linebacker position, Shaquille Leonard is arming the left side. Bobby Okereke, is at the middle, and right outside is going to be Zaire Franklin. So obviously a couple stars here. Stephon Gilmore, something to worry about at the corner position. And he's backed up by Kenny Moore and Isaiah Rodgers. At free safety, they got Julian Blackman. At strong safety, they got Rodney McLeod. At kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship. Punter, Roberto Sanchez. So obviously they have some skill guys on this team, but their entire team isn't loaded, so hopefully we can take advantage of them on this week. Now that we know what to worry about, let's decide what our game plan is going to be. I've decided our defensive game plan is going to be defending the medium pass. If Jonathan Taylor was in the game, I would say obviously we got to defend the run. But with him out, we know Nyheim Hines is a huge step back from that. We got to worry about Matt Ryan passing the ball. So we're going to defend the medium pass. So obviously, we know our offense, and we have seen their defense. We know they have a couple standouts in DeForest Buckner, but nothing crazy. So if we can avoid the passing game, which we were probably going to do anyways, I think if we run inside, we pound the ball with Damon Pierce, we can get him some key carries, and we can get some probably good yardage against this team. So all of our coaching staff have submitted their goals for this week after we reviewed the game plan that we've set. Our head coach, Lovie Smith, has decided he wants to allow under 200 yards, and I'm all for that. That sounds like a great goal for us. Our offensive coordinator said he wants 200 plus offensive yards. Hopefully we can pound that rock well enough, get some good rushing yards to get those yardage. Our defensive coordinator has said just allow 20 points or less. If we can do that, we should get enough scores with our special teams and our defense backing us up to help us get through this game. And my goal on the day, allow 2 or less passing touchdowns. Obviously, we know the running game is not going to be that much of a threat without Jonathan Taylor. So without him, if we focus on limiting the passing game, then we can shut them down completely. So now that we have figured out what we're going to be doing for this week, we can do a little bit of looking ahead to see what the season's going to look like. And we do have more trade offers on the table for Brandon Cooks. These deals are much better than the ones we had last time out. We have 2 decent corners being offered up by the Eagles and a 3rd round pick next year. We also have Cincinnati offering a solid young wide receiver in Tyler Boyd, backup defensive tackle, and a 7th round pick next year. So these are all right, but I'm going to stay away from them because I think we should see how the season plays out before we deal him. Because if our defense, our special teams plays as lights out as it did in the preseason, we might not have to worry about tanking this year. We could avoid that all entirely and make a good run for the playoffs, especially with our division. Unfortunately, I have just received word that Roy Lopez was signed off of our practice squad, so that sucks for us. But we can worry about getting new players in here because it is time to worry about the draft. So as we are looking towards the draft, we have hired our initial scouts, sent them out. So these are our distinctions here. So Emma Mullins is a tier 2 scout. Her specialty in defensive tackle and interior offensive line. So we're gonna send her nationally because the strength is D tackle. That would be huge for us. But also she was able to find a left guard or a center, which this draft is pretty weak about. That'd be huge for us. In the West, we sent a tier 1 scout, hoping we can find an offensive tackle for us, put on the right side of the ball, or to back up Larry Tunsil. That'd be nice. In Central, we are sending out Ray Griffin, another a tier 1 scout, and he's going to be looking for linebackers for us. In the Northeast, this is going to be huge for us. We have sent our tier 3 scout, Jack Morales, out. His initial goal is to find a quarterback. This is the place where quarterback is the strongest. We're hoping to find a great quarterback here to be the future of this team if Davis Mills cannot work out. Also, we're looking for tight end in case Brevin Jordan does not work out. And in the Southeast, we have sent another tier 1 scout, Jeremiah Coleman. He's out. He also has an expertise in quarterback. Maybe he can find something down there. If not, he also has skills in safety, which could be another key thing for us. And CJ Gardner-Johnson has told us he is already ready to negotiate a new deal. And honestly, I think we should start the negotiating now. This is a perfect time to get started early and take a look and see what we can do. So unfortunately, we weren't able to come to a deal just yet, but these are things that happen over weeks and weeks of the season. So hopefully we're able to meet at a better number next week when we meet up again. But unfortunately, we're not able to come to the deal just yet. But he is a star that we want to secure for this team. And with all that, we've talked about the draft, we've made our cuts, we've assigned scouts, we've decided on the depth chart. We have one last thing to do. So we have made our final decisions. So we have finally decided on our team captains for this year. We are going to be having 5 team captains, 1 for special teams, 2 for offense, and 2 for defense. And let's walk you through them here. For our special teams, Cameron Johnson is going to be our special teams captain. He's been around, he's 30 years old, he knows what he's doing, and he has the experience. On defense, no doubt, our number 1 is going to be Chris Harris Jr. He has been around the block so many years. He knows how to be a leader. He is here to mentor Derek Stingley Jr., and no question about that one. Our other captain is the new addition, CJ Gardner-Johnson. We are putting all of our eggs in one basket on this guy. We know he's a star. He has the potential to be even more than that. We're giving him the captaincy. We know he's a leader for this defense. He has the skills, and we just have to bring it out of him. So he's going to be our defensive captain. On the offensive side of the ball, all-pro tackle Laremy Tunsil is going to be our first offensive captain. He's been huge here for years. He's going to continue to be huge here if I have anything to say about it. He is a star in his own right, and he's been around the block. He's going to be huge for us, and he will be the captain. And our second, last, and final captain is not Davis Mills. It is Cam Newton. Now, here's my thought process behind this. Cam Newton is a leader, 33 years of age. He's been in the league for 11 years now. He knows what it takes to win in this league. He went to a Super Bowl. He may not have won, but he went to a Super Bowl. He has the leadership. He knows how to get his guys around him. Unfortunately, Davis Mills is not there yet. If Davis Mills has a breakout year and he proves that he is going to be the QB of the future, I will happily give him the captaincy over Cam Newton. But Cam Newton knows how to lead this team, and he knows at his age, he knows how to lead a team to follow another guy besides him. So with all of that, we are finally done. We are ready and set for our week 1 game, our start of the regular season, our final season as the Houston Texans, and we're ready to start the regular season. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I can't wait to catch you guys for our next time out when we are here meeting back up for week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. Catch you guys then.